did you come up with the idea to make your film?
Well, the idea to make the film actually was just purely a function of technology enabling it to happen. I went to the North Pole on a mission that I led in 2009. It was an expedition that I've been wanting to do for many years. I've done quite a bit of traveling in the Arctic up to that point, but this was a centennial of the first reach of the North Pole in 1909. And it happened that just a couple of months before I left, Canon came out with the now very famous 5D Mark II camera, which enables to shoot both stills and 1080 HD footage.
Well, talk to me about some of the challenges you faced while you were creating this film. It's such a harsh environment.
I had an Eon battery pack, non-rechargeable Eon batteries. I had 35 pounds worth of those, which were tethered by cable that went into the camera. And the cable was replaced with silicon because we were facing temperatures in excess of -50. And in that type of temperature, plastic goes brittle. In fact, even copper goes brittle. And cables just disintegrate. So we replaced the cable with silicon, but unfortunately there was a little area in the piece that Canon delivered, which was basically a proxy battery that is something that you normally would plug into an AC outlet in a studio. Anyhow, that little jog of an area was impossible to switch with silicon. And to make a long story short, within the first day and a half of being out on the ice, the cable was no longer usable. And when the helicopter came and picked me up at the North Pole, had to bring another cable. I was able to film the arrival at the North Pole again, which we had just restage it in order to have a film. Otherwise, I wouldn't have one.
What was your post-production like? You spent so much time there, and I'm sure you had a lot of footage to go through.
Well, ironically, I actually did not have a lot of footage to go through because of the story that I just told you.
Right, because of the battery problems.
We had to do some editing, you know, some sort of decision-making editing on the spot in order to decide whether or not this was something that could actually or would be important enough to have within the film. So, you know, in documentary filmmaking, typically the shooting ratio can be up to 1 to 50, sometimes 1 to 70. To place in perspective, the footage that I had on the ice was in the order of about 1 to 7.
Wow.
And so we literally used it from the very beginning of a take until the very end of a take, and I constantly was assessing whether a scene was worth filming at the expense of a potentially greater scene in the future that I would not be able to film because the batteries would be dead.